We're in Churchill, Manitoba on the coast of Hudson Bay. It's snowing in October, but we're all here to see some polar bears. To be able to see polar bears in the wild like this is something I never imagined, and it's not something we might be able to do 20 years from now.
I've wanted to be here for years, so I'm glad that before I'm too old, I'm able to get to see one, at least one.
Good morning, Churchill. It's -5 outside and the wind is blowing strong from the northwest. And it's time to go out on the tundra and find those great big polar bears.
Remember when I first saw a polar bear for the first time. I mean, it was just such an emotional experience, and I love to see people get excited like that. It's my favorite part of the job.
Yeah, the polar bear right below us. Right, I mean, he was like sniffing up at us.
I have almost tears in my eyes. It's even difficult to say it in my language, so then to say it in English, it's unbelievable.
For years and years, I wanted to come here, and I'd fold down the pages in the catalogs about the trip for like 10 years, and then finally did. And on the plane, the flight attendant probably thought I was nuts because I had a tear coming down when we landed, you know. And now just seeing my first polar bear, tears all over again.
This tiny tooth here is a premolar, and it's vestigial, meaning they don't really use it. It doesn't do anything. It's just kind of maybe left over from their ancestors. Polar bears are facing a tremendous number of threats, and it's going to be a long shot for us to keep them alive. The climate's warming, and it's our fault. It's happening too fast for the polar bears to adapt.
Natural Habitat Adventures, one of our priorities as a company is to continue to raise the bar on conservation across the industry. Cutting edge information technology, research that's being done on animals like polar bears to help further conservation into the future.
So our work on climate change and species involves looking at the vulnerability of a species and then developing interventions based on the vulnerabilities that we identify. The biggest thing with the polar bear is habitat specialization. It's an ice specialist and it's just losing its habitat. So Arctic sea ice is declining at a rate of probably around 5% per decade. Increasingly, we're seeing more and more bears spending more time on land for longer than they used to. And that obviously results in human-wildlife conflict. By creating a value for that wildlife, it's an incentive for the communities to help conserve that wildlife as well.
Polar bears are such charismatic animals. They're easy to fall in love with, and they're easy to get attention from people. Polar bears are an umbrella species. So if we keep the polar bears, everything else in the ecosystem, all the birds, all the way down to the plankton level, will be okay.
I think ecotourism is invaluable. By bringing tourism to the region, done in a sustainable way, of course, the communities actually really start to see the benefits.
I think this is the perfect place for people to really build a connection with bears. And you see them up close, learn about them, and get an appreciation and a love for them. So when they go home, they can be ambassadors for the bears to the rest of the world.
I think it's worth people seeing this and understanding the Arctic a little bit.
It changes you, I think, when you have certain kinds of experience in nature. For the better. You grow.
The people that come to visit take a little piece of this place home with them. And when you take a piece of something like this home with you in your heart, you're more likely to make choices to benefit those things, even if it's very far